For the first time ever, Locked On is doing a top 100 NHL players list. Which Mammoth should be on it? Robyn and I are going to tell you on today's Locked On Mammoth.
You are Locked On Mammoth, your daily podcast on the Utah Mammoth, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome in once again to Locked On Mammoth. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every single day when it comes to the Utah Mammoth hockey team. Back together again after some travel and some skullduggerous things all week long. Robyn Leaño, Tom Callahan, back together to talk about the first time ever, Robyn, Locked On is doing a top 100 NHL players list. You and I have to present a unified front for our votes for which players from the Mammoth roster deserve time on this top 100 list. So this is pretty cool, but by the same token, there's a weight of responsibility here to make sure that, you know, we get this list right. There's a lot of debate.
We need to get the right. We need to make sure the Mammoth are properly represented, and we need to really put a good front out there to show that we know who we're talking about and we know our guys. We know how good our players are.
We do, and sometimes I wonder if the rest of the league does. This episode brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LockedOnNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. So let's first of all talk about, Robyn, our parameters. So every Locked On show around the league, we all have our names on a spreadsheet. And for the Utah Mammoth, they give you up to, but you don't have to use them all, 7 slots for players that you think should be in the top 100 of all NHL players. Now, this is regardless of position. So forward, defense, goalie, doesn't matter. You get up to 7, I guess we'll call them nominations to this top 100 list. So the first thing we have to figure out, Robyn, as we go through is who definitely belongs here, who is up for debate, and I mean, who gets left off because, you know, there's going to be hurt feelings in this.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting conversation too, Tom, because I feel like, again, there's different factors that we had to put in there based off of a lot of different factors, whether it's their current star power, their their position on the ice, or whatever it might be, right? There's so many different things that we have to factor in.
So now, Robyn, you've just made me reach for a notebook and a pen here. And I'm going to go to a blank sheet. See, we have not done this yet.
Okay.
Want everybody to know we have not made our list.
We're doing it as we go.
Yes. So we're doing. I got my pen ready to go. It's also Mammoth blue. So, Robyn, I mean, there's some low-hanging fruit here, right? I mean, there's a couple of players who I think go on this list. No problem. And I'm sure you do too. So we should probably just knock those out. So who do you have for your definitely got to be on this list players?
Definitely going to be on this list. And again, this is as we go right now. At the very least, Clayton Keller, Logan Cooley, and gonna throw in a defenseman in there as well, Mikhail Sergachev.
Okay, so you're putting Sergachev on the home run, got to be on this list. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about each of those, why we think they're on there. Clayton Keller, I think, is one of the easiest ones, the easiest one to explain.
Yeah, no brainer.
30 goals, 60 assists, 90 points in 81 games. So better than a point a game guy, led Utah in those categories. I mean, where's the C for a reason for this Mammoth hockey team? Had a very good showing for Team USA at the World Championships. And Robyn, I think, again, we'll reference it because I'm going to beat this drum. How he wasn't at Four Nations, I don't know. But I think that definitely sparked a performance, let's say, in the World Championship. There was no way he was going to stay home for that. And he went out there and just looked fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a feeling that part of that was also a little bit of a tryout. Let's say that for the Winter Olympics coming up next winter as well, right? And he's trying for a spot there. And at this point, if he doesn't get a spot, I said we're gonna I will personally call the Olympic committee, the hockey Olympic committee, right? Myself, if Clayton Keller is not on that roster.
What are you guys doing? Not having him on there. Now, this is his third straight 30-goal season. He had 37 2 years ago, 33 the year before, and 30 last season. But it was a career high in assists at 60 and a career high in points at 90. So, yes, 7 goals away from the career high. But, Robyn, I think the role changed a little bit here with the development of players like Guenther, like Cooley. I think now the impetus for Keller is to be a more all-around player. The pressure's not there to have to be that top goal scorer, even though, as I mentioned, the way the stats played out this year, I mean, 30 goals, that was, first on this team. And, Dylan Guenther had 27 right behind him, Logan Cooley 25. But we're seeing that spread of the offense more. And now they've added JJ Peterka. So I think you are going to see Keller grow even more with a lot more talent around him. But I think he definitely is a top 100 player. I don't know how that's a question.
Yeah, I think, and that's the reason why I named him first, right? Because it's like you have to get that one out of the way without a doubt, without a single shred of doubt.
So that's number one on here. So number two, you put down Logan Cooley, and Cooley, who is due for an extension here. And as we keep talking about, probably before camp is the timeline, because that followed Guenther's timeline. Had Dylan Guenther followed his upward trajectory from the start of last year and not tailed off and then come back, I could be arguing for him to be on the home run. Absolutely got to be on this. But instead, we talk about Cooley. Number one is a center. Clearly the center of the future for this team. And I think you look at his season last year, 65 points. That was second on the team. And those 65 points in 75 games, 25 goals, 40 assists. So this team likes nice round numbers.
Right.
And again, the interesting part, so those 75 games, really only a second full year in the NHL. I mean, Robyn, this is a budding superstar.
It really is. I mean, you and I have talked about how much the potential this kid has. I had a crossover, just this last week with Locked On Wild host Seth Topol, and he asked me about Logan Cooley, and I pretty much said straight up, this kid is going to be the superstar of the team. He's going to be that cornerstone player, and it's going to show in his contract. He is going to be, I almost have no doubt, he is going to be the highest paid player on the team come once his new contract kicks in next year. Again, we don't know what the contract's going to be. It's not signed yet, but that's my prediction, right? I have a feeling he is going to be the highest paid player because of those reasons.
And I just want to throw this out there to everybody. Don't panic. It's August. Plus, he's got another year on his ELC. I don't think it's going to come down to that, because it didn't with Guenther. And Bill Armstrong knows he wants him to be here, and Cooley wants to be here. Just relax on that, okay? Yeah. Let's just pump the brakes. Let's not freak out. Let's not send out all those crazy posts. Oh, what is it? It'll happen. Just relax. I agree with you, Robyn. Here's the other thing I wanted to point out that I liked about the growth of Cooley's game. And I can only hope, Robyn, this is a critical point, and maybe Peterka helps this year too with him coming in. But 20 of those points and 7 of those goals were on the power play for Logan Cooley. It's not that Utah's power play was numerically bad, but what Utah failed to do, 5-on-5, 5-on-4, 5-on-3, they just didn't score the big goals when the pressure was on. They didn't stretch a lead. They didn't tie a game. They didn't break a tie when they needed to put a game out of reach or to put themselves into a game. They just didn't score those big-time goals. I'm hoping we see that growth out of Logan Cooley this year.
And I think we will. What I've loved that I'm seeing, and this is more of a Just this is definitely an eye test thing that you just have to see it. You can't really like explain it based off stats alone. But when Logan Cooley really first stepped on the ice when he was with Arizona, he looked great in preseason. Regular season started. He started deferring a lot to Clayton Keller because again, Clayton Keller was the experienced guy there, and it was Logan Cooley's rookie year. What are you gonna do? Right? How is he really going to perform? And there were a couple things I'm like, I want to see him do more. I want to see him really push at it. He is really finding into his own and really molding his own self. Last season was a huge, massive step forward, and then it really became really like visible towards the end of the season. You really saw this is Logan Cooley. He's not deferring to anybody else. He is playing Logan Cooley's game.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to talk about Mikhail Sergachev, and then we're going to start talking about others on the list. Feel free in the comments to let us know already who you think. If you were going to use all 7, who would you put on there? Remember, this is top 100 of the whole NHL, regardless of position. So we're going to dive into that. I've got a couple of interesting ones I'm going to throw Robyn's way. We'll see Robyn's reaction here in just a sec. All right, today's show brought to you by Monarch Money. You know, most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up actually leaving money on the table. And that's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. It makes it simple to review your finances if you have a partner involved. That also helps because you can both see the budgets, the goals, spending activity all in one place. But the thing is you can also then chart for those independent goals as well. A lot of budget apps, a lot of just calculators online are geared for essentially one person, and Monarch goes beyond all that. Don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use our code LockedOn NHL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with our code LockedOn NHL. Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño here with you, Locked On Mammoth, and we appreciate you being here for the first time ever. Locked On is doing a top 100 NHL players list, and so this is our process. We are picking our spots here. We have up to 7 potential spots to use for players that we think should be top 100 in the entire league. So this is where we're going to have to be a little judicious. It'll get whittled down. Trust me, we're going to end up with more than 100 names on the initial list. Then we got to slot them all in. We got to vote for where they go. So we've already said Keller, Cooley. Now we're going to talk about Mikhail Sergachev. Robyn, I would have probably hesitated on it. I'm being honest. I would have hesitated a little bit on making Sergachev a home run. Would Sergachev have made my list? Yes. But why is it you feel so strongly about putting Sergachev on as a home run?
Look, it's really interesting because, I mean, look, it's no secret I've been critical about Mikhail Sergachev when he's playing on his own end, at least particularly when he's playing and when he's trying to go for the breakout. That said, when you watch the Mammoth in the offensive zone, when they're putting the forecheck on there, this is where Sergachev shines. He is that offensive, that true offensive puck-moving defenseman. He really holds down the blue line and shows that he can really put the strength up and really keep the possession going for Utah. His shot is amazing. He knows when to take the shots. He's really smart. I think certainly one of the best offensive defensemen currently out there, especially as a veteran as well.
So this past year for Sergachev was career highs in time on ice, career high in goals, not a career high in points or assists, but also like everybody else, I mean, missed some games last year. No, I mean, the fact that Utah got through by the end of the year and had most of their defensemen back was kind of amazing. It was just that kind of year. And what else is interesting to me is considering coming over from Tampa Bay, where you're playing with a lot of offensive talent, especially when they were in that Stanley Cup window, also not having to be the number one guy, it takes that pressure off of you, whereas now that pressure is on Sergachev. So not to disparage, again, as we say, last year, I mean, as an offensive defenseman, I think Sergachev is one of the best and developing. Mid to late 20s, still on the rise, still a lot of room to develop that game and become an even better player. I do want to see better play in the defensive zone, but yeah, Robin, at the end of the day, Mikhail Sergachev's a top 100 NHL player. And it's just a matter of figuring out where Sergachev's going to go. But here's the thing is this list is going to be based around what have you done in the past. This is not a where do you think they're going to be this year. I actually think Sergachev has a chance this year with some improvements to maybe start to get just a little bit of Norris Trophy mention. Maybe. But that's going to have to come with some pretty big upticks in stats. Look, the bar that all defensemen are measured against is in Colorado, right? I mean, Cale Makar is the bar to me.
Yeah, he is the bar. And I think, to me, I mean, the biggest gripe I've had with Sergachev all of last year is does not have the greatest vision on breakouts. Does not make the greatest decisions on breakouts. That's something that can be coached.
Yeah. Patience and just learning to take that time with that. And also, I mean, systems wise, knowing where your guys are, being able to hit them on those breakouts, those are all very important things. So that it's a great point that you make. So we will see how the advancements of the game. But for now, yes, top 100 player. So all right. By the way, if you like what you hear, please subscribe to the show. If you haven't already, if you're on the YouTube side, not only give us a like, a thumbs up there. It helps us with the algorithm, helps you find more great hockey content as well. Plus, hey, subscribing doesn't cost you anything. And Robin and I have not figured yet, but we will. Robin, we have to figure out what the heck we're going to do when we hit our big milestone coming up here on YouTube on subscriptions. We haven't quite gotten to 1,500 yet, but we're close.
I know we're getting very close. I mean, it seems that a couple people might have liked your idea of Robin Sparkles merch, but who knows?
Nice. Hey, we could absolutely do it. All right, Robin, let's take a look at some of the other players we think are top 100 players. I'm going to throw a couple of names out at you, and I just want to kind of see what your reaction will be as far as putting these players on the list. Forwards, I think merit consideration, Nick Schmaltz, Dylan Guenther. I think merits consideration as a top 100 player. And of course, this is going to be hard because there were so many injuries last year, but does Sean Durzi as a defenseman merit top 100 consideration? That is going to be a tough one really for us to ferret out because we didn't have a big body of work, 30 games. Can you fairly put that guy on there? And if there's any other names you'd like to suggest, I'd love to hear it. But let's start with Schmaltz and Guenther and talk this through. Do they belong in a top 100 list?
Yeah, they do. Schmaltz is an interesting one. He's been very hit or miss to me, but when you take a look at what his role really is, he's a playmaker, right? He's not your sniper. He's not like. You're looking at, again, two different kinds of players between Schmaltz and Guenther. Guenther is a sniper. He will shoot from anywhere, and he will get the job done and get the goals. Schmaltz plays, in the other way. He's kind of helps set things up. He kind of makes sure and he helps everyone get to where they need to be on the ice, and that's what he does. And he might not have an incredibly inflated stat sheet, but that's okay because he does everything else in the ice. You just got to take a look at the eye test alone to know what an important role he plays in the ice. So yeah, Nick Schmaltz certainly does deserve to have that consideration. I think even a spot in the top 100. And I think to me, Dylan Guenther was very close to being on the no-brainer home run list for me.
Okay. So Schmaltz, fourth consecutive 20-goal season, and fourth consecutive season hovering around 60 points. If you average it out, 60 points in each of those last 4 seasons. So I can definitely see that. Of course, the last couple of years, the plus minus has, left a lot to be desired, but you could say that about Utah as a whole. I don't think they were as good 5-on-5. I think that's why the power play kind of came under the focus for us so much. But, 63 points is hard to argue with, and consistently 20 goals. Does that put you in the top 100? I think it gets you in the door. Dylan Guenther, 27 goals. Now that raises an eyebrow, 60 points and 29 power play points. Here's the interesting thing for me with Guenther. I think if we're having this conversation next summer, Dylan Guenther probably is a home run selection to this list. I think Dylan Guenther definitely belongs on there. So that is a guy that I think we slide right in. And I actually put Guenther and Schmaltz right now. Yeah, they're on the list. Next year, I don't know that we're having an argument with Guenther.
Oh, no, certainly. And I think the biggest thing, and I think that the only drawback that I had with them is he was just he can be a little bit streaky. I mean, you take a look at how he started. I mean, you can't. Right. I mean, that's all momentum right there from getting his new contract, plus just how well he started off the season, right? We made the joke that he was on pace in the first couple of games to get like 160, however many goals, right? Like we knew that wasn't going to happen, but I think at the end of the day, like he went through a 10, 12 game period where he had nothing. He was left off the score sheet altogether. And you're wondering, well, wait, what happened? But he made up for it more than enough still. But a little bit of streakiness, I feel like he adds that level of consistency, plays another season under his belt. He's 100% in there. And I think he still is. I think next year, if we're talking next year, he is next year he's home run. Right now he's absolutely. I think he's there.
Okay, so we have let's talk about Sean Durzi here in just a moment. And there's one guy we haven't even mentioned yet because, well, quite frankly, we haven't seen him in a Mammoth uniform yet. Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño here with you, Locked On Mammoth. Tell your friends about the podcast if you like what you're hearing. We appreciate it. And we are so excited because we're getting close. Training camp will be here before you know it. And Robyn and I are working on some stuff, potentially for an opening night appearance. Potentially there might be a big party somewhere. And so we're going to
We're teasing it. We're slowly getting there.
Potentially, we might be able to pull this off for you. And that would be an awful lot of fun if we could just have a huge follower get together. And it would just be an awful lot of fun. That's something to look forward to.
One thing's for sure is I already know Badonhurst is to be very excited.
And why wouldn't they be? Why wouldn't they be, for sure? Robyn.
It's their second favorite player who wears number 91.
There you go. That's and now might be number 1, quite frankly.
I don't know about that quite yet.
Okay. Well,
I don't know about that quite yet.
We'll get you there. Don't worry about it. All right. Well, about halfway down from your number on the roster chart is number 50, Sean Durzi. Robyn, I think with a full healthy season, Sean Durzi is probably one of the I would say top 50 defensemen in the league, top 20. I don't know with a full healthy season, but maybe. And this is the problem I'm having right now. Do I put Durzi on here? Do you put Durzi on here? 30 games, 11 points, but was +4 and still recovering from injuries. I mean, this is a really, really tough consideration here.
It very is a huge, it is a very tough consideration because there's a lot of different things you have to consider, but and the important thing is what we're talking about top 100 right now. And Sean Durzi had an interesting situation where he got his contract extension last summer, and was really well deserved. He was definitely definitely the best defenseman for the Arizona Coyotes that last season. The last season in Arizona, right? And I think that is an important merit on its own. His injury, and I'll even add it one more thing. He actually had a great start with the Mammoth before he got injured, right? It was all of 4 games he ended up playing to start off before he got injured. That ended up getting him out half the season. But he played phenomenal those 4 games. I feel like he really showed that he is a great defenseman, but without enough sample size in the last 365 days, it really is hard to say, all right, has he, like, have other defensemen jumped him now, or has he fallen down because we just don't have enough sample size? That it's just tough.
It is. It's funny. I'm looking back at the game logs now. Assists in his first 2 games was +2, played 29 minutes and 12 seconds in that Rangers game, which was the 3rd game of the year on that road trip. Remember that long road trip, then got hurt against the Devils. Was poised to really become the minute muncher for this team, and then everything went sideways. So Durzi doesn't come back until later in the season. Now, historically, Durzi is still young, 26 as of this episode. And 2 good seasons with the Kings, and then did really well with the Coyotes in 23-24. That was a 41-point season that showed the growth, 9 goals, 32 assists. Maybe projecting Durzi to eclipse 50 points this past year had the injuries not kind of taken hold. The other thing, Robyn, +4, where there was not a lot of pluses when it came to defensemen this year, but Durzi played pretty well in his own end. And so I think we, meaning us as Locked On Mammoth, are going to have a tough time selling the rest of Locked On the value of Sean Durzi.
Yeah.
But we have 2 spots left here, and Durzi could be one of them. We can talk about whether or not we think Veg belongs in a top 100 spot here. But we also have another guy that we haven't talked about at all, and I think we do need to discuss JJ Peterka, because if we put Durzi on, then Peterka kind of grabs that last spot, and we don't even have the discussion about Veg, right?
That's correct. Yeah, I think it's that, like, if we're going down that route, I feel like that's the only way around it. I mean, getting to the conversation about Veg is a whole other it's a whole thing right there, Tom.
I know, and just kind of looking back real fast just at some of the goaltending numbers, kind of middle of the road, middle of the pack. 904 save percentage was 18th. 26 wins, but again, Robyn, you and I had, let's just say, our disagreements with the usage. 2.58 goals against was 23rd in the league. So really a middle of the pack goaltender on a top 100 list that I think is probably only going to have 10, maybe 12 goalies on it.
Yeah.
I just don't know that I can put them on.
It's really hard. Having goalies in the list is just so hard because skaters are what we see most of. I mean, we see a lot of goalies, right? I mean, there are a handful of goalies who you can be like, oh yeah, 100% they're on that list in other teams, right? And I think anyone, it's hard to make any argument against like a Connor Hellebuck in Winnipeg or especially from last year, Sergei Bobrovsky in Florida, right? Because they just were absolute dominating. Veg didn't really have that level of caliber. Is he good? Yes. Is he top 100? I don't think quite yet.
And I think we're also not in the era of the superstar goalie like we used to be. Like we used to really be in that era 5-10 years ago, and I think we're kind of out of it again. So yeah, there's a handful. Ottinger in Dallas is another one I'll include to your list, but beyond that, I mean, how many of these guys are night in, night out difference makers? Vasilevsky, and is he still that caliber? I think he still makes a top 100 list, but then this is all the debate we're going to have too. As this list comes down, believe me, all of us hosts are going to be fighting for our guys. So Robyn, then do we take JJ Peterka 68 points, which by the way tied for second in Buffalo last year, and do we put him in there? So Peterka last year, 27 goals, and then he had 41 assists for those 68 points. So he was third and tied for second in points on Buffalo with Rasmus Dahlin, the defenseman. Goals 27, that put him third to Thompson's 44, and then his assist 41 was second on the team to Dahlin. So it's kind of funny. Everybody was like, oh, Peterka picked up all these garbage points because of Tage Thompson scoring goals. And a lot of the discussions I've had with Buffalo fans, not so much the media people, but the fans have come at me and said, we don't believe in Peterka because we think Tage Thompson was the reason Peterka looked good. And I'm like, well, what you have to understand about Utah is now there's not just one Tage Thompson, even though Thompson's a 44-goal scorer, but there's now 3 or 4 guys who could put the puck in the net around a distributing Peterka, who also happens to have a pretty darn good shot.
I mean, you and I have pretty much geeked over the idea if you can get Peterka, like, Peterka on one side of the wing, and let's say, but potentially, and again, with there's some mix and matching here, but Guenther on the other side of the wing, right? You got 2 absolute snipers, and then let's say you have Cooley in the middle, or maybe you fit in Keller in there somewhere. Like it's unreal.
And you could have either one ridiculous power play unit, or you could have 2 pretty stacked ones, which, by the way, I'd be in favor of. But I mean, there's a lot of things we could do, but I think if we put Peterka on here, that to me slides Durzi to 7 and then Veg off the list. Does that sound like something you can get on board with? Or do we even have a 7th? Does Durzi make it?
It's interesting because I think we can definitely, I could say yes, slide in Peterka as that 6, and you're in. It's interesting because you mentioned Veg, which I like as much as I want to put him in. I don't think I can at this time. Again, nothing against Veg. I think talk to me again next year. Maybe we can reevaluate that. But I think at this time, not quite there for a top 100 among the current NHL players. Durzi, on the other hand, I feel like this is like it's by a hair, Tom, and I have such hard time. Like, we can do it and we can argue for it. I just don't know if the rest of the Locked On NHL host will see it the way we do.
So I think here's what the smart decision is, Robyn. We support our guys, right? So we're going to bat for Sean Durzi and saying, despite the injury-riddled season, only a small handful of games to go by, Durzi belongs on this list, and probably will get support from 1 or 2 other teams. You know what I mean? He'll be one of the first guys voted off the island. But I think he deserves a spot for us to be able to be on here. But other people are going to easily make the case, even though I don't think it's the best case, but they're going to make the case that, hey, he didn't play enough. There's just not enough body of work of what he did last year for us to include him. So, all right. I think we go to bat for our guys. So what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. You can reach out to us on social, but drum roll, please. Here is the Locked On list that is going to be submitted, as Robyn and Tom have agreed on: Keller, Cooley, Sergachev, Schmaltz, Guenther, Peterka, and Durzi. Robyn, does that sound complete?
I like it.
Okay. So I've got that written down in my chicken scratch, and we will be putting that in. So we're going to keep you posted, because this is going to be an ongoing thing as we vote and we whittle, leading up to the revelation of what is going to be that top 100 list for Locked On. And that's going to be across the NHL. That's not just, by conference or whatever. So, Robyn, I'm hoping we can argue our way to having 3 or 4 players at least represented on that list.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we can't wait to actually show the whole list. I mean, it's gonna be a little bit, but the whole list is gonna be out, and it's gonna be again, as you mentioned, on behalf of the entire Locked On NHL channel, and it's gonna be distributed network wide, right? I think the national show is gonna release it first, and then we can follow shortly after once they release the list, and we can kind of show, and then we can show the list and put our own commentary on it as when it comes out, but that's for another time.
So the list moves on to the second phase of voting this week. So the show drops on a Monday afternoon, and you are going to, we will keep you posted, but that it's going to enter the second phase of voting here starting sometime this week. And then probably in the next week or two, as we get into probably early September, We're going to finalize that list. So, Robyn, where can folks, if they want to tell us either why we're right, which they should, why we're wrong, which I don't know what you're thinking, where can they reach us on social media?
Well, you can first reach us out on anywhere on social media at LockedOn Mammoth. That's at LockedOn Mammoth. That's absolutely everywhere on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, pretty much anywhere you can find us on social media. You can also leave a comment on our YouTube video, on our YouTube channel. If you're watching us on there, you're probably already seeing us, and you're probably already leaving a comment as you're already listening to this as we went. But you can do that too. Leave us a comment there. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit subscribe and hit the notification bell as well.
Fantastic. And if you're kicking around on Blue Sky, you can find me at Tom Talks, on Twitter at Callahan on Air. And of course, don't miss Robyn. Robyn, I actually saw, I wanted to ask you about it. We got time. I want to ask you about a tweet that you have an IMDb page. What?
Yeah, it was funny. I don't know how how it brought up. I just, one of those evenings when you're boring, you just look up your name on Google, and then I scroll, I see all my usual socials, and then I see IMDb, Robyn Leaño, host, and it said, but it didn't say Locked On Mammoth, it said Locked On Utah Hockey Club. I'm like, what? I have an IMDb?
That's wild.
It said actress, editor, and something else on there. Writer. Yeah.
Wow. I'm impressed. That's pretty cool.
Okay.
All right, so let's get a bunch of traffic to Robyn's page. And but if we lose you to Hollywood, how are we going to have all this great hockey content? Oh,
keep trucking along. That's all it is. Just keep doing.
I guess.
Keep the grind going.
I'll just be able to say, and all of us will be able to say we knew you when. So, fingers crossed. Boy, I would love that. That would be amazing. So that's cool. Go check out Robyn's IMDb page. That's cool. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we appreciate you guys being here with us. Feel free to fire away on your who makes the list on the top 100. If you've got some dark horse candidates, let us know that as well. But remember, you only have 7. That's the max. So it's got to be 7 or fewer choices for that list. All right, everyone. Till next time, for Robyn, I'm Tom. Thanks for joining us on Locked On Mammoth.